All right, you guys, well, welcome to our video lesson on unit analysis. I want to start off with a scenario. Okay, let's just say COVID's over, we're walking to school, so you're walking to school, got your get a limp. No, you don't have to get a limp, you're just walking like a normal person, right? Let's say you see a skinny, short, old guy coming at you as you're walking, okay? So you're coming, and I'm hoping you guys are, a pretty personable individual, and, ladies, you got to be careful. You're walking alone, of course, but you still want to make eye contact with people. That's just being a good person. So let's say you go by the guy, and the guy, as he's going by, he says, "I'm 60." You're like, "You're a freak." No, you wouldn't do that. You're like, so now you're thinking to yourself. Now the question is, he says he's 60. What the heck is this old, skinny, short guy talking about? He could be saying, I know a lot of you are like, oh, he's probably saying he's 60 years old. You're like, okay. But he could also be saying what? He could also be saying he's 60 pounds, oh, he's pretty skinny, kind of malnourished. Or he could even be saying what? He could be saying he's 60 inches. You guys know how much is 60 inches? That's 5 foot. That's like about right here. You guys, the whole point here is that if he just has a number without a unit, it's kind of meaningless. In fact, it's quite confusing. So my point is, you guys, you always have to include a unit with a number, otherwise that number is meaningless. And so that's kind of where we're going with unit analysis. Somebody sent me an email some time back, and it was captioned, "If women ruled the world," check this out, "if women ruled the world, bowling alleys would be a whole lot prettier." Do you agree? Check this out, if women ruled the world, that toilet seat would not be good enough. So you guys, gentlemen, can we do the ladies in our house a favor? When we get up to, use the restroom at night, when we're done, can we put the toilet seat down so the poor ladies don't fall in the toilet? Can we do that, gentlemen, for the ladies in our house? Can we do that, please? Okay, that we could. Okay, unit analysis. Another thing, guys. Let's say you guys are planning a family vacation. Okay, let's say you're going old school, like me back in the day, right? I would break up, I would open a map. Now you guys are just going to go to Google Maps or whatever. Let's say you're planning a vacation, and let's say, right, vacation, a lot of us want to go, maybe it's like Disney World, right? And I'm going to challenge you guys. If you were in charge of planning the family vacation, like a road trip, let's say you guys are jumping into a minivan, you're going to go on a road trip, right? I would challenge you. Here's the question. If you guys open up a map, just imagine you have an old school map, you open it up, where do you guys think your eyes are going to gravitate toward first when you open up that map? I can guarantee you know where your eyes are going to go to first? It's going to go to your destination. It's going to be looking where it is you want to go. And you guys know where Disney World is, right? That's in Florida. You guys know where Florida is on a map? Where's Florida on a map? That's right, it's in the bottom right. So your eyes are going to gravitate toward the bottom right. Then, where do you think your eyes are going to gravitate toward next? You know what I realized? I keep looking at the Proxima, so I'm always probably looking off camera. I should probably be looking at the camera, so whatever. Hopefully that doesn't trip you out. Okay, but anyways, where are you guys going to be looking next? You know where you're going to look? You're going to look to where you are. You guys know where are we at right now? Yeah, we're in San Diego, and you guys, where on the map is San Diego? Yep, it is the bottom left, so your eyes are going to go to the bottom left. Okay, so you're going to first look at your destination, your end point, then you're going to look at where you're starting, your starting point, and then what do you think you're going to be looking? You're going to be trying to figure out what? The route. You're going to be looking at the roads that you plan on taking. Hey, maybe I'll stop at the Grand Canyon on the way to Disney World, and I'll stop in New Orleans or whatever, right? That's how it works. You guys, we're going to take the same approach in what is called unit analysis, and this is going to help us to solve word problems. And you guys, the good thing about this is you don't just apply this to chemistry. This is going to be applicable to you guys in any kind of word problem situation you guys might find yourself in. Okay, so you might want to write this down. It's pretty much 3 easy steps, just like we were relating it to the road trip. The first thing we want to do is determine the end point, where we're going. Okay. Notice I have a little hint there. You put a unit on your answer. The second, we determine our starting point, right? For end point would be like Disney World. Start point, okay, now we're looking at San Diego where we're starting, right? And that you're going to start with a number and a unit you're starting with. And then the third thing is, I have a little note here you might want to, and this might apply on your assignment. The third is what we call conversion factors. These are like the roads that you're going to take to get there. Okay, so you guys, the rest of this lesson, I'm going to just do a couple problems. The first one we're going to start out is pretty, for some of you guys who are more mathematically inclined, you're going to find it's pretty easy, but you guys still stick with me. And I know there's other ways to do it, but nonetheless, you guys, you have to learn this way because we're going to be doing much more difficult problems. And if you don't learn it the way I'm teaching you, you're going to have a very difficult, if not impossible time later on. Okay, so you guys write this down. And I know because you guys can pause it or whatever, I can just go here quick, okay? So we're going to attempt to solve it, okay? So you guys remember, we're going to take that 3-step process. The first step said, determine the endpoint. So this is what's different, guys. This is probably, you know, it's kind of like in your math class, your math teacher says, always determine what it is you're trying to solve first. So in this, when you're doing this, you skip some space on your paper, okay? You know what, in fact, I'm going to do it over here. You're going to skip some space on your paper. Okay, and we're going to do the endpoint first. And here's how you do it. You have to look for the hint in the problem itself. You got to look for keywords like what is, how much, how many. So if you read this, the example, a student has $8 to spend on soda. At 50 cents a can, how many cans is she able to buy? What are we trying to find? Where are we trying to get to? Our answer is going to be blank what? What's the unit? That's correct. It says how many cans. So that's what I put here. I put blank cans. I know this is different than the way you guys are used to probably solving problems. So that's my end point, right? That's where I'm going. Now I got to determine my start point, what I'm starting with. And if you guys look on your notes, the step 2 said it's both a number and a unit. So the question is, what value here do I start with, which will help me to determine how many cans here? So now you're kind of left with 2 things, because what's the only 2 things that you have possible that are a number and a unit? You're either starting with $8 or you're starting with 50 cents, right? Those are the 1 and 2 starting points. Well, you guys got to think about which one of those determines how many cans here. And hopefully you guys determined correctly. It's $8. So that's what I'm going to start with, $8. Okay. So now, you guys remember the 3-step process. The third is the conversion factors. Now, independently of this, you want to determine conversion factors. A conversion factor is saying this is equal to this. So I want you guys to look in the problem itself and see if you can find a conversion factor in the problem itself where you can say this equals this. And if you guys want to pause and give yourself some time to think, and what do we find? What can equal what? It says 50 cents a can. What's the conversion factor? 1 can equals 50 cents. Right? That's what we call a conversion factor. That's like a road on our journey. Okay? So now we want to look, and you know what? At this point, I don't see any other information we can pull from this problem. So let's see if this works. So here's how you guys want to look at it. It's called unit analysis because we're analyzing the units. We're starting here, you might say, in the city of dollars, and we need to get to the city of cans. Now the question is, can this conversion factor alone, can this road alone allow us to go from the city of dollars to the city of cans? And the answer is no. This just allows us to go from the city of cans to the city of cents, or the city of cents to the city of cans. So we need some other conversion factor. And in this one, you're just going to have to know, you guys have to know some things from living on this planet, 15, 16 years. Can anyone think of a conversion factor that you know just from living on this planet? A conversion factor that might help us here. And I'm glad you thought about that. You're like, yes, Mr. Willison, I know $1 equals 100 cents. You just know that because you've been walking on this planet for a few years. So now let's see if this will work. Now you kind of just follow. Notice we're just looking at the units. I can go from the city of dollars, check this out, to the city of cents. And then I can go from the city of cents to the city of cans. So what this tells me is I have to use 2 conversion factors to get from here to here, and therefore I'm going to do 2 sets of parentheses. I know this is new for a lot of you guys, okay? So now it's just a matter of determining which conversion factor goes into which set of parentheses. So here's how you do it. Once again, unit analysis. I'm starting in the city of dollars, so which one do you think I'm going to start with, the top or the bottom one? Obviously I'm going to start with the bottom one because this one has dollars in it. Now the last thing you have to do is just determine which one of those goes on top and which one of those goes on the bottom. Well, in order for, we don't want dollars anymore. The only way you're going to get dollars to cancel out, things cancel out, you guys know, right? 3 divided by 3. If you have something divided by itself, it essentially cancels out and you get 1. Well, that's what we're going to do with dollars. Dollars is on top, so I want to put the dollars on the bottom. $1 is equivalent to 100 cents, and you guys can see, now look, when I take dollars divided by dollars, it cancels out like that. And you guys see, now if you look, I moved from the city of dollars, I'm not in the city of dollars anymore, I'm in the city of cents. But I need to keep going to the city of cans. So I'm going to use this last conversion factor here. Once again, I just have to decide which one of those goes on top and bottom, but you guys look, here cents is on top, so which one of those do I want to put on the bottom? I want to put the cents on the bottom because I want cents to cancel out. So 50 cents is equivalent to 1 can. And you guys look, cent divided by cent cancels out, and what unit, what city am I left with? Cans. That tells me I'm done. Now it's simply a matter of doing the math. Now in the math, here's what I always highly recommend you do. You take every number that's on top and you multiply it. So I'm going to go 8 times 100. You guys know you don't have to go times 1 because that's just the same. So I go 8 times 100 is 800, and then I divide, and then everything on the bottom you divide. And so I'm going to divide by, I don't have to divide by 1, but I do divide by 50. So 8 times 100 is 800 divided by 50 is 16 cans. And I know some of you guys sitting there are going, Mr. Willitson, I already knew that like 10 minutes ago. Mr. Willitson, you're just wasting my time. I get you, you kind of got one of those math brains, but realize we're going to do much harder ones than this, and if you don't learn this way, I don't think you're going to be able to do it in your head like you were on this one. Okay, you guys, we're going to do one last one. Stick with me. I want to make sure we still have time on my video. Okay, I'm going to read this to us. On a picnic, 162 students are each given 2 hot dogs. If there are 9 hot dogs per pound, priced at 3 pounds for $5, what is the cost of the hot dogs? You guys, this is kind of like a real world problem, right? You guys notice this really doesn't have to do with chemistry, but this type of technique is going to help us to ultimately solve chemistry problems later on. This is like a real world problem. It's like if you guys were in the ASB, and back if we didn't have COVID, we would have like football games, right? And sometimes they have tailgate parties, and sometimes, right, the ASB has to figure out how many hot dogs or whatever to buy for, you know, that they're going to get for students. You know, it's kind of very real. And you might be saying, well, Mr. Willison, I'm not an ASB, so this don't apply to me. Okay, let's go like this. Okay, instead of a picnic, let's say we got a carne asada going on, right? And I got 162 of my ugly cousins coming over, and I need to know some things. I want to know what's the cost of the hot dogs. You know, so this could be real, all right? So let's try it. You guys are going to do the same technique. Remember, the technique is we do the end point first. This is new to a lot of people. So the question is, and you guys remember, you just have to kind of read it. You're like, my answer is going to be blank what? What question am I asking? So you're going to look for keywords like how many, how much, what is, okay? So what are we looking for? All right, you guys are good. It says, what is the cost? I want to know the cost. How much is it going to cost me to buy all these hot dogs? So you guys, my answer is going to be blank what? What's a unit for cost? Duh. Dollars. Okay. So that's actually the easier point. The hardest point is trying to figure out what I start with. That really is tough. And you guys can see in this case, it can be tough because then I look, okay, what am I going to start with? Am I going to start with 162 students? Am I going to start with 2 hot dogs, 9 hot dogs, 3 pounds? The question is, which one of these ultimately determines what my overall cost is? You guys should be thinking about it. Pause it, kind of give yourself, don't just wait for me to give you the answer. Try to figure out yourself. What ultimately is going to determine how much I ultimately have to pay out of my pocket? You guessed correctly. It's the fact that we're feeding 162 students. So that's what I put way over here. So you guys leave yourself a big space because, here, I got to see if, I want to see if I can even have that in there. I do, okay. I just want to make sure it was in there. So 162 students. Okay, so now you guys, now we're at step 3. This was the end point, this is the start point. Now you remember it's conversion factors. So I want you guys to look in the problem itself and try to figure out a conversion factor. Something in there that says this is equal to this. Okay, and if you guys look, you could say, look, it says, what's one? It says 9 hot dogs per pound. What we can say then is, I'll just call them dogs, 9 dogs equals 1 pound. You guys know LB is for a pound, right? Okay, so that's a conversion factor. If I had 9 dogs, it would weigh 1 pound, okay? Another conversion factor, you guys look at the problem, it says, if I had 3 pounds, it's gonna cost me $5. That's a conversion factor. 3 pounds equals $5. You guys see? That's a conversion factor. Any other ones? You guys see another one? The other one's a little bit more hidden. You guys get it? It says, look, each one of these students is given 2 hot dogs. What's the conversion factor? 1 student equals 2 dogs. Now you guys, now at this point we're going to see, do I have enough roads to get me from my start point to my end point? So now we just kind of plan it out. Let's look, guys. It's like we're planning a trip, right? I'm starting in the city of students. I can get from students to what? Dogs. And then I can get from dogs to what? Pounds. And then I can get from pounds to dollars. The city of dollars. What that tells me is I've got it correct. Now that means I'm going to take how many roads on my journey? 1, 2, 3. So then I do 3 sets of parentheses. I'm hoping you guys can see this. Okay, and now you just got to determine which conversion factor goes where. So you guys, we analyze units, right? So we're starting in students. So which one am I going to use here in the first one? The top, the middle, or the bottom? You guessed it correctly. We're going to use the bottom one because that one has students in it, right? Now you guys look, students, that unit's on top. So which one of those do I want to put on the bottom? That's correct. I want to put students. 1 student is equal to 2 dogs. And the reason why I do that, because if I have student on top and student on the bottom, what can I do with it? You guessed it, I can cross it out, okay? So now, what city are we in? If we stop right here, if I just go to 162 times 2, what would I figure out? I'd figure out how many dogs I need. But that's not what I want dollars, so I gotta keep going, right? So what's the next one I'm gonna use, the top one or the middle one? Well, if I'm dogs, I gotta use the one with dogs, and I'm gonna use the top one. Now I gotta decide which one of those goes on top and which one of those goes on the bottom. Look, if dogs is on top, which one of those do I want to put on the bottom? You guessed it again correctly. 9 dogs on the bottom is equivalent to 1 pound. You guys see that? Now look, dog on top, dog on bottom, dogs cancel, okay? Now I'm in the city of pounds, and so I just gotta use my last one, which is right here. And so pounds on top, so I wanna use the 3 pounds on the bottom. 3 pounds is equivalent to $5. And you guys see what happens? The pounds cross. You guys be in the habit of crossing out. Notice I'm not crossing out numbers. We need the numbers. I'm crossing out the units. It's called unit analysis. We're always analyzing the units, not the numbers, right? So at this point, if you guys look, at this point, what's the only unit left standing? Dollars, which is what I wanted. That tells me I probably did it correctly. So now the last thing is I have to punch the numbers. Okay, get a calculator. Guys, here's how to do it. You guys, it's always good if you're at home, if you have a calculator, to do this at home. So what I say to do is multiply all the numbers on top and then divide by all the numbers on the bottom. So here's how we press it, okay? Do an air calculator if you don't. You should have a calculator. First number I'm going to press is 162. Then what am I going to press? Times 2. Then what? I could do times 1, but that's just kind of redundant, right? Then what do I do? Times 5. Notice I multiplied all the numbers on top. Then, I don't press equal or anything. Then, now what am I going to do, guys? I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide by, I can put divide by 1, but that's just going to give me the same number. I don't have to do that. I'm going to divide by what? 9. And then, okay, guys, what button am I going to press next? You know where a lot of people make a mistake here? They want to press multiply at this point. If you press the multiply button on your calculator at this point, you know where your calculator thinks that 3 is? It thinks it's up top, and you're going to get a bogus answer. What did I say? Everything on the bottom, what do? You divide, so you press divide again. Divide by, so I divided by 9, and now I'm going to divide by 3. And I press my equal sign, and then you guys notice if I do it right, I'm going to press my equal sign once, and here I got it, and I got $60. It's going to take me $60 to buy hot dogs for all 162 of my ugly cousins. That's how it is. Okay, guys, that's unit analysis. Hopefully this is going to help you guys on the assignment that I'm giving you. All right, guys, we'll see you.